All right, welcome, Weekend Warriors, to a special edition of the show. We haven't had a guest in quite some time, but we have Kevin Lawson here with us today. And Kev has had an interesting season, and we're in the thick of it, so I'm glad that we were able to have him on the show. Kev, you're currently fourth in the playoffs right now, but it is
Yeah.
super, super tight. So tell me about it. How you feeling about where you're at and about your chances?
I mean, I would have been feeling way better if your brother actually put together a serviceable team last week against Brett. Yeah, it's at you, Jake. If Jake won last week, it would have came down literally to me and not week, 15 or whatever it is. But now it's a little different because Brett has the easiest schedule in the league. He plays Pearson, and then he plays some other bum, I think. Who does he play?
He has an
He
easy
plays
schedule.
Toscano and Pearson, I'm pretty sure.
He does have an easy schedule. Now Brett will tell you that.
Or no, he plays both Chris's. So Chris, can one of you win?
Brett will say though that, and I do agree with him. Chris's lineup this week and just in general is better than his record. So I think there's worse people he could be playing for sure. But Chris is playing spoiler this week. Pearson's playing spoiler this week. Dean's playing spoiler this week. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
And I play Terry.
And you play Terry, which is not great. But if you're gonna play him, you'd like to play him with Jonathan Taylor on bye.
Yeah, and as long as if Brett loses, this game means nothing because it's going to come down to me versus week 50 next week, and I have more points than Brett, and
Yeah,
it's not close.
The site does percentages, and it gives you like a 58% chance. So obviously, of you, Ott, and Brett, you have the best chance. There is a world, just throwing this out there, where me and Jake are not actually locked. If there's a world where two of you guys can make it in. If for example,
I don't know about that because of their points. Their points are a lot lower than you and Jake.
that's correct. It would come down to points.
And
Brett would have to
close
outscore
the
me
50s.
by like 100 points. over the
Yeah,
next 2
and
weeks.
or outscore Jake by 75.
Right. It's possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but it is a world where that could happen. Well, before we get into the potential seeding, I want to ask you real quick. I mean, you were 3-6, I think. I don't quote me on that, but now you've won 4 in a row. So, what's changed and what's propelled you to victory, and what specific players on your team are carrying you?
I mean, I think what's changed is my opponent stopped scoring 140 a week. That's a big thing, and my team actually has been consistent the past few weeks. Even without last week, I scored 150 without my two of my starting running backs.
Yeah.
And consistent. I've been starting the right quarterback. I played that game where I was rotating Hurts and Herbert, and I would always start them when one went off, and the other one did.
Yeah.
Better.
2 good fantasy quarterbacks for sure. Herbert's been on fire as of late. So you don't have to make that decision this week with Jalen on bye. But that is a good luxury to have, but agree, sometimes it can be tough trying to decide which one to play. So I get that. The trade you made was pretty good. I think if Ott could go back, he would definitely take that back. Kelsey has not been Kelsey. Jefferson's been one of the best receivers in football, and Adam Thielen's hurt. So that's a pretty good combination.
And Swift's a true RB1.
He is.
Which people forget.
And I was going to say, your team...
I took a lot of slack on that trade.
You did.
People were like, oh, that was completely unfair. Otley screwed you in that trade. And I was like, are we looking at the same trade here? Because it hurt a lot losing Swift.
Yeah.
Jefferson and Thielen kind of balanced out for a few weeks. Kelsey's hit or missed. So is Knox, though. One goes off, the other one does nothing. One goes off, vice versa. But Swift is a lot better than Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams has started 1 week since the trade.
I think that when that trade was made, a lot of people were still thinking that Kelsey was going to retain his first-round value, and unfortunately he is definitely not. And I think that's a big part of it. And Jefferson has definitely outplayed Thielen, and now with him being injured, it's not even a question. So, all right.
Swift is RB10, and Jefferson's wide receiver 2, in case people are wondering.
Interesting. And he's only going to go up with no Thielen. So, let's hear it from you. You're a two-time champ. I said it to you earlier to pump you up. Two-time champ, battling back this season now. 4 in a row. Put some respect on his name. What do you think the playoff seeding is going to look like after these next 2 weeks?
I think it's going to be how it is now. These 4 teams are going to be in it.
And 1 would be Terry, and 4 would be yourself.
I don't see a world where both of you lose 2 games, or either of you lose 2 games in a row. So I'm going to go with you. You're going to stay 2 and 3.
All right. So first round predictions of the playoffs: Terry versus.
And it doesn't
Kevin.
matter who's 2 and 3 because you guys are going to play each other anyway.
That's right. I think you most likely not want to play Terry. I would imagine, but obviously whoever's fighting for a playoff spot just wants to get in. But this could be a rematch, is what I'm saying. In 2 weeks, you could be playing Terry again in week 16, and it should be interesting.
And to be fair, that's kind of a week you actually do want to play Terry.
Yeah. Looking ahead, I saw you got Josh Allen, I think, is playing the Pats.
Jonathan Taylor's playing Arizona on Saturday Night Football.
Yeah, okay. So, listen, I've been the top dog before and not won, so I know what that's like. You can have the best team and you might not win. That's for sure. Because he's definitely dominated all year. All right, 2 more questions, maybe 3. I want to ask you, I have been absolutely on fire in my NFL picks on this pod. I was terrible to start the year. I am now 6-0 in my last 6 picks on the pod. So I'm going to give my picks tomorrow, but I'm going to give an opportunity for yourself, who I know looks at lines, bets on DraftKings, bets on FanDuel. Now's your time to give. There's not been a guest winning pick on this show to date. I think the guests are 0-3, so this is your chance to right the ship. What do you got?
Dallas -4.
Okay. Who are they playing for the show?
Washington, at Washington.
Yeah. I think Washington's overrated. I kind of like Dallas in that game, too.
Rivera, I was listening to Ron Rivera this morning. He was on ESPN Radio, and he kind of gave away why their defense has been good. So I hope that Dallas listened. As long as they chip, their defensive ends do not get home. That was their struggle early in the year, is that everyone was getting chipped, and they got no pressure and got destroyed on 3rd down.
Yeah. Well, and Washington.
I think Dak finally has a good week.
Washington's won 2 weeks in a row, scoring 17 points. They actually won 17-15, the exact same score 2 weeks in a row. They are not going to hold Dallas to 15 points. I marked that down for sure.
Yeah, I think Dallas wins.
All right.
It's either hit or miss because you either want them to win or it's just. I think that's going to happen.
All right, let me ask you. I can see the Eagles picture in the wall on the background. Do the Eagles make the playoffs?
It's either them or Washington. They play each other twice.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
If they split, it's going to be hit or miss. But if one team wins both games, they're in.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I think the Eagles are a better football team than Washington. I don't think Washington's very good. But the Eagles got to get.
But they just play. They let Heineke just be a game manager. No. Gibson's finally healthy. He's averaging 90 yards rushing since the bye.
Yep. All right, well, last question, fun question. We're going to be watching this fight, but a previous guest on the show, Jersey Jerry, Pearson kind of invented him, and then the rest of us kind of, after he's on the pod, he grows on you. At first, you got to learn to love the guy, but he's got a big fight on Friday. What are your predictions against Nadeau? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I watched the interview, was it yesterday or the day before on the Portnoy show, and Portnoy said if there had to be a line, he put Jersey Jerry at -700. So that would be Nadeau plus 500.
Wow.
So the odds are very much in Jerry's favor. Nadeau has not hired a trainer. His only training is him punching a bag and running on a treadmill.
Interesting.
Whereas Jersey Jerry isn't working out with an actual boxing gym and everything. I saw it with him and Marty when they did their hometown special or whatever you want to call it. He
did get COVID, which I think got him off track a little bit. But according to Jerry, he's back. And it's going to be fun to watch, if nothing else. Last fight that I was psyched to watch, Rough and Rowdy, was Billy Football versus Jose Canseco. And that fight lasted 3 seconds.
30 seconds.
It's got to be better than that. But
mind you, we also get Rough and Rowdy Friday night, but we also get an amazing UFC card on Saturday.
That's fair. Sugar Sean O'Malley. I can't wait for that too. All right, well, it's fight weekend, and it's fight weekend in the Weekend Warriors because it's going to be a battle. Do you have any words for Terry or any words for Brett and Otley? Some of you got a lot of enemies right now.
I used to have friends, now I got enemies. That's all I can say.
All right, well, listen, nobody wants to play Kev's team in the playoffs. He's the hottest team right now. See if he can pull off the upset this week. Kevin, good luck, and we'll talk soon.